My daughter stopped calling my husband Papa after she heard him say that she is not his real daughter. Now he's devastated and crying because she refuses to let him walk her down the aisle. Katie's biological father died when she was 2 from a heart complication nobody knew he had. I fell into a deep depression and barely functioned for years. When Katie was 5, my friend set me up on a blind date with her cousin Gerald. From day 1, Gerald was incredible with Katie. He'd pick her up from kindergarten, help with her homework, carry her on his shoulders at the park. 6 months into dating, she started calling him Papa. It felt natural. He never corrected her. We got married a year later. 2 years after that, I had twins. Gerald treated all 3 kids exactly the same. Katie was included in everything. Family reunions, the annual cousin photo shoots his parents organized every Christmas. She had his last name on her backpack. For 13 years, she was his daughter, not his stepdaughter, his daughter. Then Katie turned 18. It was her last week home before leaving for college in London. She'd been packing all week, excited about her new life. That's when I noticed she started calling him Gerald. At first I thought I misheard. Then it happened again at dinner. Gerald, can you pass the salt? My husband and I looked at each other, confused. She'd called him Papa for 13 years. I pulled her aside later and asked what was going on. She said we should talk as a family. Gerald joined us in her room. She told us she'd overheard him on the phone 3 days earlier. He was talking to his friend Neil, who owns a hostel, planning a Father's Day camping trip. Neil asked why Gerald only requested 3 bedrooms when he had 3 kids. Gerald said, and Katie quoted him perfectly, "This trip is for my real children. Katie's not actually mine, so it wouldn't make sense for her to come. She's my stepdaughter, not my real daughter." The way she said it, I could tell she'd been replaying those words in her head for days. Gerald tried to backtrack. He said he loved her like a father, but his love for the twins was different because they were biologically his. He kept using the word real over and over, digging himself deeper. Katie just stared at him. Then she said, "I thought I was real to you." She asked us to leave her room. That was on a Tuesday. She flew to London that Sunday. We barely spoke that whole week. For the next 7 years, every time Katie came home for holidays, she was polite but distant. She'd hug the twins, talk to me, and say, "Hi Gerald," like he was a roommate. Never Papa, never Dad, just Gerald. He never apologized, never brought it up. I think he hoped if he ignored it long enough, she'd forget. She didn't forget. Last year, Katie got engaged to her boyfriend of 6 years. We were thrilled. They'd been together since college and he's a great guy. She was glowing when she told us. 2 weeks before the wedding, we were going over final details. I casually said, "So, Gerald will walk you down the aisle at 3 p.m., right?" Katie stopped mid-sentence and looked at me like I'd just suggested something insane. "Uncle Joel's walking me down the aisle, Mom." I thought that was obvious. Uncle Joel is my late husband's brother. He's been in Katie's life since she was born, but Gerald raised her from age 5 to 18. I said, "Honey, Gerald's been your father for most of your life, don't you think?" She cut me off. "I'm not his real daughter, remember? It wouldn't make sense if he walked me down the aisle." Those were his words, not mine. I felt my stomach drop. She'd been holding on to that for 7 years. When I told Gerald that night, he got angry, like genuinely pissed off. He said Katie was being petty and needed to let it go because it happened so long ago. That's when I lost it. I told him he'd spent 7 years avoiding accountability and expecting her to just forget. I said, "You don't get to call her fake family and then cry when she treats you like you're not real to her either." He got teary-eyed and told me not to speak to him. The wedding day was brutal. Gerald sat in the 3rd row, not the front. Uncle Joel walked Katie down the aisle wearing her biological father's cufflinks. Gerald cried through the entire ceremony. Afterwards, at the reception, Katie danced with Uncle Joel during the father-daughter dance. Gerald watched from his table, barely touching his food. It's been a week since the wedding. Gerald only speaks to me about the twins or household stuff. Nothing personal. He's devastated but still won't admit he caused this. My daughter doesn't know we're fighting. She's on her honeymoon, happy and free. Gerald finally understands what it feels like to not be considered real family.